Dragon Ball Super, Episode 100, Super Saiyan Battle Royale. Somebody pass me a towel, I need to wipe off all this epicness. Congratulations, Dragon Ball Super Episode 100. You're officially the best episode of the Tournament of Power arc thus far. This week's episode was great. We finally got to see Kale in action, transforming as the gender-bendered version of Broly. Does she live up to the hype? I would say hell yes, and if you're a fan of the character of Broly, I'm sure you're going to love all of the amazing callbacks in this week's extremely explosive and incredibly fun episode. So let's not waste any more time and let's review this puppy. This week's episode of DBS was great, not only from an action standpoint, but from just all of the amazing build-up. By the end of this week's episode, you're going to be begging for the next episode to begin, because that's right, Goku and Jiren are finally about to throw down. Until something gets in the way of their battle and they have to build it up just a little bit more. But the implication is that they are going to be fighting in the next episode, and man, that is going to be awesome. And I don't even know how Goku was able to keep going on, because man, he had a crazy fight in this episode. Not only did he go up against Caulifla, but he fought directly with Kale, whose entire anger was directed right at everybody's favorite dim Super Saiyan. And it was glorious! But let's get back on track here. Krillin is gone and everybody's just sort of accepted that, but they have to continue to fight, and we have a few other smaller fights which are built up. First, we have Vegeta, who's going up still against Vegeta and Batamo, but eventually they are separated from him and he's going up against Kabe himself. Master versus student, who's going to win? Probably Vegeta. I mean, really, though, like, how could he lose to Kabe? The Universe 6 Saiyans have proven that they are incredibly strong and can learn things on the fly, but I honestly think through all of the things that Goku and Vegeta have been through, there's no way that they can catch up at any point in this tournament. But they do have a few other surprises up their non-Saiyan sleeves. We also have a few other fights going on, with Kale going up against this weird red bug man. I know that sounds weird, it's very vague, but that's what he is. He basically looks like Zoidberg wearing a Rock Lee jumpsuit that's painted orange. Yeah, he's pretty crazy. He has stretchy limbs, and both him and Oolong's sumo wrestler cousin managed to team up against her, and then that's when Caulifla comes in and just unleashes all of her Super Saiyan rage. She's desperately trying to make Kale transform into her Berserker Broly form, but Kale just can't seem to tap into any of this power, and then you have Caulifla versus Goku, which was so damn solid. And what I love about it is that these two love fighting each other so much. You know, if Goku never would have met Chi-Chi, he probably would have married Caulifla. They seem like the perfect couple. Caulifla goes through a couple of different forms during this battle, the first one being that super buff form that was originally used by Future Trunks during the Cell arc, and then she learns that, of course, she can't really move that fast, and then she accesses her Super Saiyan 2 abilities that she managed to only do that one time we saw in that episode, but here, she practically just masters it, and both her and Goku just end up, like, battling across this entire ring, and I love the speed that they give to the scene with watching them constantly just like throw punches and kicks at each other as they're just traversing this massive landscape, dodging blasts from other fighters, and just plowing through all of this debris which has been kicked up due to all of the battles. Kale desperately wants to help in the battle, and she ends up throwing a ki blast right at Goku during his battle with Caulifla, but he easily deflects it, and this moment is really important because I'm not sure if this is actually Caulifla's original intention, where Kale ends up asking her if she's actually a bother to her, or maybe like she's getting in the way of her fight, and Caulifla does nothing but just look away and continue her fight with Goku. Now, she could be just tapping into her inner Saiyan and loving the fight that she's having and she doesn't want to interrupt it, or she's using this as an opportunity to draw out Kale's power. Regardless, Kale ends up transforming into the legendary Super Saiyan form, and this is when the true battle of the episode begins, as she immediately starts fighting against Goku. So while there is some new stuff in this fight scene, a lot of it basically is a straight homage to the Broly films. Not only does she resemble the character, but she has a lot of his traits, such as the signature green ki energy, which she can use as projectiles. Not to mention she has a penchant for grabbing opponents and slamming them into walls and skidding them across it. They even have that one classic scene where she constantly grabs on onto someone's face and slams him into the ground. And even that one scene from the film where Goku ends up hitting Broly point blank with a Kamehameha, he does the same thing here in his Super Saiyan Blue form, but Kale just grabs his face and starts crushing it in her hand. It's basically the perfect homage to it, and it looks really cool with this 2017 animation. I'm not gonna lie. She even pulls off another signature ability where she powers up so much that all of this energy starts exploding from around her and just destroying everything. The fighters are running, ducking for cover. It's insane, and even a few of them actually get taken out in all of the blasts. It's just one of the craziest things I've seen, and a great homage to a movie character. It makes you question why they didn't just incorporate Broly into this universe at all, although having a female Super Saiyan take over the role definitely makes it a lot more interesting. And honestly, these chicks from Universe 6 kick all sorts of ass. Hell, they'd probably kick my ass. Yours too. The big shock, of course, is that Goku is not actually the one to defeat Kale. In fact, she doesn't even get a ring out in this episode, but she is defeated by none other than Jiren of the Pride Troopers, who makes one hell of a great appearance in this episode. One other member of the Pride Troopers tries to stop Kale with this ability, which is basically Wonder Woman's golden lasso, which is supposed to immobilize any sort of opponent, and it ends up just not working at all. And this guy actually ends up getting defeated, so bye-bye Mr. Dinosaur Head. But Jiren comes in, and he actually manages to stop Kale with basically one hit. She is caught in midair by Caulifla, so she's going to be just fine. And there was this really tense moment between Hit and Jiren just staring each other down, and I was like, oh my god, I really hope this fight can actually happen. But no, Goku shows up. However, this is not how things go down. Hit decides to make a strategic retreat, and that's when Goku and Jiren begin to stare each other down as it ends this week's epic episode. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of Dragon Ball Super? Kill Goku! Kill Goku! For those of you who've been watching my channel for a long time, you know that I'm not really a big fan of the Broly movies. I never really liked his character because I just thought he was just so one-dimensional. Just a big, pissed-off, angry dude. And in all of the movies, it's basically the same thing. Goku and his friends fighting against Broly, man, that's just about it. And that's what it made me realize. Broly as a character, I think, works a lot like the Incredible Hulk in the Marvel films. He can't necessarily carry his very own movie, but if you place him in a scenario with a lot of other characters, things start to get a little more interesting. And they've taken that concept, I think, and they've translated it into this episode with the character of Kale, who not only has the qualities of Broly, but a lot of these similarities of personality as well as power. And they're able to translate that into this setting in this massive battle royale, where it's actually kind of refreshing and really awesome, and you never really know what's going to happen or what fighter is going to jump in. That combined with her incredibly destructive power definitely makes this just one hell of an awesome episode. Not to mention just a lot of little moments, like there's a lot of like one-named fighters we've seen for a little bit that end up getting defeated in this episode. That one sumo wrestler Pig, when Caulifla defeats him, it's one of the coolest things I've ever seen, because he's trying to push her out of the ring and he ends up picking him up and slamming him back down in this like giant attack where his head hits the edge of the ring, it ends up breaking and he falls into the abyss. It's just really stylistic and awesome looking. And even the character of Nagrishi, who's that one artificial human who powers himself up from the robot planet, I wanted to learn a little bit more about this guy, and he just gets defeated out of nowhere in this episode. So it's very evident that a lot of these characters, we're just not going to see much from them at all. And really, I think these episodes right here are going to be building up who are going to be the final, most powerful opponents from each and every single universe. And then they're going to set up all of these epic battles, which are what I think we're really going to be focusing on. And there's so much good stuff that could potentially come from this, and a lot of that was shown in this week's episode. Goku versus Caulifla was great. Goku versus Kale was just a downright massacre. Like, Goku went blue and still couldn't even take Kale. That is insane. That is how powerful these Universe 6 Saiyans are. Their potential is through the roof. Just imagine if one of them taps into Super Saiyan 3 at this point. Goku hints that Caulifla could actually attain that during this tournament. Even Vegeta recognizes that Kale is someone that you do not want to fuck with. He actually recognizes her as the form of a true Saiyan. You could take this literally, or you could take this in another completely different route. You know, this could be another excuse to build up the whole concept of the legendary Super Saiyan, and the fact that Kale has not been officially ringed out means we're probably going to see more from her, and man, it's gonna be cool. This was just a super fun, action-packed episode of Dragon Ball Super, which is honestly, I think, the best thing they could have done for the 100th episode of the series. Can you believe we are already at 100 episodes of Dragon Ball Super, and we have no idea how long this thing's going to go on for. For all we know, this could be the next One Piece. This could go on for like another 1,000 episodes if it really wanted to, and honestly, as long as it's interesting, and the stories are good, and we get great creative action like we got in this week's episode, then I'm all for it. I loved this week's episode. I give it 5 Zoidbergs wearing a yellow Rock Lee jumpsuit out of 5. Check it out. If any of you guys did watch this week's episode of Dragon Ball Super, make sure to tell me what you thought about it in the comment section below. What did you think of Caulifla versus Goku, and what did you think of the epic battle with Goku and Kale? Are you a fan of Broly? Did you like his female interpretation? Who's gonna win in the battle between Goku and Jiren, and what do you hope to wait to see from the rest of the Tournament of Power arc? Thank you all for watching this review. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for all things Dragon Ball Super related. And make sure to hit that like button. Give this video a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. I know the channel would as well. So thank you all again for watching. Take care. And as always, stay dandy, baby.